Your impression of him, like at the AFI, was just great.
Well, that was for Mike Nichols.
Oh yeah, he had a big impact in your career.
Huge,
really
impact
important.
In my career.
Can you talk about him? Like what role did he play in your life?
I think it was, it was 1984. I went in to audition for the national tour of a play called The Real Thing, which Jeremy Irons and Glenn Close were doing on Broadway that Mr. Nichols had directed. So I went in to read for this character, Brody, who is a Scottish character. And I did the audition, and Mike Nichols comes down the aisle of the theater, and he's asking me questions about where'd you go to school and what have you been doing. And I just come back from doing a bunch of years of regional theater in different theaters. So I was in New York, and meeting Mike Nichols was just incredible. So Mr. Nichols went, have you seen the other play that I directed up the block called Hurly Burly? And I said, no, I haven't. He says, why not? I said, I can't afford a Broadway ticket. He said, we can arrange that. I'd like you to go see that play, and then I'd like you to come in next week and audition for that. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went to see Hurly Burly, William Hurt, Harvey Keitel, Chris Walken, Candice Bergen, Cynthia Nixon, Jerry Stiller. And I watched this play. It's a play, David Ray play about Hollywood. This is crazy. I mean, Bill Hurt was like unbelievable. And it was extraordinary. Chris Walken, these guys were. So there's this Harvey Keitel. Walken came in later. Harvey Keitel's playing this part. And I come in and I audition for it. And Nichols says, I want you to understudy Harvey Keitel. I want you to understudy Phil. And I'm like, Phil? I mean, Harvey Keitel is like in his 40s. He looks like he can beat the shit out of everybody on stage. I'm this like 24-year-old. And Nichols said, it's just all about attitude. If you believe you can beat the shit out of everybody on stage, the audience will too. So, okay. So I then started to learn Phil. And the way it works when you're an understudy, unless you're a name, they don't let you rehearse on the stage. You just rehearse in a rehearsal room. But I used to sneak onto the stage and rehearse and try to figure out where the props were and yada, yada. Anyway, one day I get a call. You're going on today. It's Phil. So I went on. Nichols is told by Peter Lawrence, who's the stage manager, Spacey's going on as Phil. So Nichols comes down and watches the second act, comes backstage. He says, that was really good. How soon could you learn Mickey? Mickey was the role that Ron Silver was playing, that Chris Walken also played. I said, I don't know. Maybe a couple of weeks. He goes, learn Mickey too. So I learned Mickey. And then one day I'm told, you're going on tomorrow night as Mickey. Nichols comes, sees the second act, comes backstage, says, that was really good. I mean, that was really funny. How soon could you learn Eddie? And so I became like the pinch hitter on Hurly Burly. I learned all the male parts, including Jerry Stiller's, although I never went on as Jerry Stiller's part. And then I left the play. And I guess about 2 months later, I get this phone call from Mike Nichols. He's like, Kevin, how are you? And I'm like, I'm fine. What can I do for you? He says, well, I'm going to make a film this summer with Mandy and Meryl, and there's a role I'd like you to come in and audition for. So I went in, auditioned, cast me as this mugger on a subway. Then there's this whole upheaval that happens because he then doesn't continue with Mandy Patinkin. Mandy leaves the movie, and he asks Jack Nicholson to come in and replace Mandy Patinkin. So now I had no scenes with him, but I'm in a movie with Jack Nicholson and Meryl Streep. And my first scene in this movie, which I shot on my birthday, July 26th of 85, I got to wink at Meryl Streep in this scene. And I was so nervous. I literally couldn't wink. Nichols had to like calm me down and help me wink. But that became my very first film. And he was incredible. And he let me come and watch when they were shooting scenes I wasn't in. And I remember ending up one day in the makeup trailer on the same day we were working, Jack and me. We had no scene together. But I remember him coming in and they put him down in the chair and they put cucumbers, frozen cucumbers on his eyes and did his neck. And then they raised him up and did his face. And then I remember Nicholson went like this, looked in the mirror and he went, another day, another $50,000. And walked out of the trailer.